hits and crits. This video is brought to you by Asmodee.
What's up, Hits Nation? Welcome to another video about the factions in Season 6. I'm Dominic, also known as Tipsy Tengu, and I'm joined today by Randall of Imperial Minis. I'm very pleased that we can do this video again together. I think we did it in Season 5, right? And yeah,
Yeah,
I'm very excited.
5 or 4. Yeah, it's been a while,
Oh,
though.
maybe 4. Yes, it's been a while. That's true. Anyway, I'm excited that you could make it and that we can collaborate on this one. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Very good. So I think we should just dive right in. As you all might know, there has been a big patch been brought to us lately, and there have been a lot of changes, mainly to the army composition. cmon introduced an alternative way of composing the armies where you get 4 extra attachment points. The standard now, made the standard now, and so that gives new options, a lot of new options for list building. And I'm very excited about that. There's a lot to do. What do you think, Randall?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited about it. Generally speaking, I'm excited about it, and specifically for Greyjoys, I'm excited about it because Greyjoys have a lot of really cool attachments, and I always found myself taking 1 or 2 attachments in Greyjoys, which was always pretty easy because they have cheap combat units. But now with 4-point attachment allowance, you can just do like make amazing lists with the Greyjoy attachment. So it's very exciting times.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're one of the factions that has a lot of very, very strong attachments. And yeah, so let's see where we're coming from right now. So the state of the game, what would you say are the current meta lists for Greyjoys, and what do you think will change with the coming update?
Yeah, so I think we've seen that Victarion and Baelor have been pretty steady and strong through season 5. I think Victarion will probably continue to be a strong commander, even despite a couple of, despite the change to assault orders, which we'll talk about. I think he's still going to be super popular and powerful commander. As far as whether Baelor is still kind of right under him, that will, I guess, remain to be seen. Where the season is still very, very new, and I think a lot will depend on which attachments people want to take because there's a lot of overlap between commanders and attachments because a lot of them have an attachment version, and in most cases those attachments are very good,
Yeah,
or NCUs are very good.
that's true. That's so let's see what the changes are going to be. And look at the units. So we want to start with the universal changes that happened to the Greyjoy, or in general all the units, and we're going to start off with changes to divide the spoils. We have 2 combat units that have this ability and 1 commander attachment, and the change is that now you can target a unit in long range of the unit with divide the spoils and redistribute it to another unit within long range, meaning that now you have a huge range, and possibly if you have 2 units with this ability, you can cover, I guess, the whole deployment zone and can spread the pillage that you might have from the start very easily to the units that you want them on. And also during the turn of the game, it's much easier now, for example, for the bowmen who stay a bit back to snatch a pillage token to maybe buff themselves a bit. And yeah, so I think that's going to be a great change. It's very, very good utility, and opens up a lot of options.
Yeah, I think it is definitely going to make it so that Greyjoy armies don't have to huddle together quite as much anymore. It used to be you'd really need to keep those bowmen moving up with your army or keep the Black Tide Chosen like in the center of your army because Divide the Spoils really had like a effective range of 6 inches all around all around that unit. So, really, I guess that's what 6 plus whatever the tray is, another 5, and then 6 inches. But now with it being long range, that bubble radiates almost the entirety of the board, minus whatever, a few inches on each side. So it now will allow you to really spread your army out quite a bit and not be worried about being outside of the divide the spoils range. So it'll definitely open up, I think, a lot more fun tactical options for your armies.
Yeah, I think so too. It's I mean, to be honest, I almost never used it. I mean, in the first few rounds, yeah, to just maybe get
Mhm.
to get the pillage token from the Black Tide Chosen to another unit, and then after that, that's it. And now I can see, or I feel that, yeah, it will also be a valuable order in the long term of the game, because with the width that you can now have in your deployment, it will be really easy to redeploy those pillage tokens where you actually need it. Might be for like just morale boost, or just give a second pillage token to a combat unit that you want to attack with in the following turns and so on. And now that's much easier, and I think that's just going to be great. Um,
Yeah,
right,
agree.
moving on to another change, which happened to a lot of units. I think there's one neutral attachment with Domineering Pride, correct? Lyseni Borsun. And
Mhm.
yes, the Iron Victory Crew. It's one of the many changes where they changed the wording from less to same or lesser ranks. And I think this will be a huge change for the Iron Victory Crew. As you will know, as well know, Greyjoys are an infantry-based army, and what really scares us is cavalry, especially lance cavalry, which outranges you and can charge you. And with the change to Domineering Pride now, the Iron Victory Crew gets much tankier. I mean, they already have a 4+ and 6+, which is quite a great stat for Greyjoys. And now, if cavalry attacks you, they need to kill at least 8 models in the charge to force a panic test. And this is going to be a very tough change for the opponents. I'm also thinking about dragons and giants. Everyone who
Mhm.
is on one ranks, they can never force a panic test on you, and this will
Mhm.
be great for the survivability of this unit. And yeah, now I'm really thinking about whether I should play Victarion in Silence Man anymore, because now the Iron Victory Crew is such a round package that it's going to be very hard to beat them. What do you think?
Yeah, no, this makes them way more resilient, and especially in like a monster mash meta, which I think we can probably anticipate seeing at least at the local scene. I don't know if it's going to be competitive enough yet, but you're going to be looking at a lot of mag, high activation monster kind of lists. Mother of Dragons was very popular in season 5, very powerful, which it may still be. It's crazy to think that the dragons will have a greater chance of failing a panic test than the Iron Victory Crew that they're engaged with,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Iron Victory Crew will always pass a panic test against the dragon, but the dragon could potentially fail a panic test that if it was hit in the flank or something. So it's kind of crazy to think about, but yeah, it makes these guys just like psycho berserker, unbreakably tough morale wise kind of guys. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's a pretty cool change.
Yeah, and I think also not even only for Victarion lists, but think about if you just place Nute, which we will come to in a second, in this unit, it will be just a strong unit overall in any army, I think. Um, you generate this pillage token with Nute as well, because he counts as Victarion, right?
Mhm.
And with the changes to
Mhm.
Motivated by Coin, they also get inbuilt rerolls and extra healing. So I think it will be great. Um,
Yeah.
right, so let's move on. So there we have Theon and Nute. Yeah, what are your opinions on those two? As there's 2 universal changes again, which happens to every faction, and I think they might be quite useful. What do you
Yeah,
you think?
I mean, Theon can now give you every single token when he attacks you in the flank or the rear. So, I mean, an extra token is always a good thing, but then it's going to kind of come down to the question of do you is this going to change your decision about whether to take Theon as your commander or not? I mean, probably not, because this is the commander version of Theon. So I don't know if that really changes your decision-making process on that. But I would say the Nute change is more exciting because I think you're more likely to have the bags than maybe some other factions, because controlling the wealth zone is more important for Greyjoys because of some of the abilities and tactics cards that are uh, triggered off of it. So I think they're both good changes. I'm more excited about the Nute change probably than the Theon one, but they're both good.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as we have quite some tools to get the rerolls, but this is just one more possibility to just get easy rerolls or inbuilt rerolls. And what is great about this new ability, I mean, now we see cmon changing the wording of few abilities so that if the opponent don't control a certain zone, then you get a bonus.
Mhm.
And means that I actually don't have to do anything at the moment. I just have my bonus. I just have to see in the long run if I want to keep it or not. And so it means that my opponent needs to be active to take something away from me, and so
Right.
forces some hard decisions on him. Um, and yeah, what you said about Theon is correct. He's a commander that is not been played that often. I think he's very unique. He's the most mobile commander, I'd say. Look at when we look at the attachment with Sentinel and enhanced mobility, that is just a lot of movement abilities in one unit. And if I think you put them in Reaper, so he has movement 7, March 14, and pivot before, and then also the Sentinel. Yeah, looks very nice on the paper, but it remains to be seen that maybe now with the changes, if he's going to go up in the commander ranking for Greyjoys, because there's tough competition. But
Yeah.
on the paper, I really like it. And as you told me before, he's been played mostly in Bold and Bastard Girls. They had such a native, nice,
A good
they
synergy.
fit, very good synergy. They fit well together, and um, let's see if there's going to be adequate replacement, maybe, because now if Theon generates his own vulnerable token, I don't know if you need the vulnerable token from the
The
Bastard Girls
Disruptor's Bow.
anymore. Yeah. So we'll see. But anyway, I mean, giving out more tokens is always good, right? And um, so the attachment just got better, and we'll just have to see with the general changes and changes to the army building if Theon has a place now where you when you can get more free attachments, and if there's going to be nice lists.
Yep.
All right. So moving on to the next slide, and so there's another universal change, but this time to the tactic cards. Affects a few commanders in the whole game, and so I wouldn't say really it's a nerf. What happened to assault orders, or I'd like to say it's a nerf for assault orders, but for Victarion it's not really a nerf because he's profiting from the upgraded sustained assault, which gives now highest dice and rerolls. Plus, if it's Victarion's unit, you dish out a vulnerable as well, which is a huge, massive upgrade. And then in comparison, you have assault orders now where you can charge and attack with lowest dice only. And so it's like a side grade, I'd say. I'd like to say it's not really a nerf in total, I'd say, like under overall, he's not really gotten worse, but it's been a side grade, and I think the way you play with him now will be a bit different. You cannot use assault, or it will be difficult to create this opening with assault orders now, right? What you want to do, or what I wanted to do always, is to set up Victarion for a good charge, then pop Moqorro, block all the orders and tactic cards from my opponent, use assault orders to get in, right? To do as much damage as I can in the Moqorro turn. And well, this doesn't work anymore because, well, you just don't want to put all your eggs in one basket when you have like only lowest attack dice. I think you will not do as much damage as you need to do, and so I think assault orders will be more of a mobility tool than a damage dealing ability. Since, well, the damage output got hit quite hard. What's your opinion on this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, it's a universal change, so you can't feel too bad about it. But Greyjoys, I guess, have a little bit of an advantage because if you have a unit that has 2 pillage on it, it will be using its lowest attack die value +1, right? Because we'll have an extra die. And then if you're looking at Victarion here and he's attacking with the Iron Victory crew, he's still going to give that unit panic token if he has 2 pillage, and if he's using sustained assault for another attack, he's going to make them panicked and vulnerable because he has because sustained assault was changed. So if he's hitting something and giving him a panicked and vulnerable token, which also counts for Nute, then I think these two will kind of balance each other out a little bit over the course of a game.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so too. As I said, it's like more of a side nerf, and I think Victarion is the only commander, yeah, with both cards in his deck, right? So all the other commanders with assault orders, they don't have any similar upgrades while having assault orders nerfed, and yeah, so it's not as bad as it might seem, I think.
Mhm.
Right. So that's the tactic cards for us, and right. So Randall, changes for Balon Greyjoy. Why don't you walk us through it if you could? And
Yeah, sure. So the only change is if you flip his card around, that number went from a 5 to a 6. The ability is the same.
woohoo!
Nothing has changed. So yeah, when I saw that, I just kind of thought, well, who cares really? Because
Yeah.
they just gave everybody 4 free points to spend on attachments, and I think most Greyjoy players were already spending at least 1 point on an attachment. So this is at worst like a net neutral.
Hmm.
It's not really hurting Greyjoys that much at all. I think if you really wanted to shake things up with Balon, they would have changed the ability itself in some drastic way. I think it was nerfed 1 or 2 patches ago a little bit to not come back with their pillage tokens on them. But I think increasing the points by 1 is just, I wouldn't say it's like a lazy change. I would just say it's a way of kicking the can down the road a little bit on Balon. They can say he was nerfed, but it's not really materially nerfing him. It's a minor points adjustment, but it's going to change decision making on taking Balon by like 0%. Everyone's still going to take Balon. He's still worth 6 points. He would probably be worth 7 points if they wanted to do that. So I don't think this is changing the game, uh, the list building game for Balon whatsoever. But
Yeah.
what do you think?
Yeah, I feel you. It's I think that was the most asked question, or one of the biggest part of the discussions pre-patch. People were asking me about, what do you think will happen to Balon? They need to nerf him. He's too crazy. And yeah, I think all Greyjoy opponents wept bitter tears when they saw the document, and he just went up 1 point without
Mhm.
being really nerfed, like text not being changed and so on. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, I feel a bit bad about it as well. Because I understand that it might be a very feels bad moment to play against him, especially if you're a newer player, I think, and you don't really know what's gonna happen. Like they just gonna attack you, they're gonna kill a unit, they're gonna be super happy that they finally wore down one of the Greyjoy units, and then you flip Balon and say, okay, here, I'm back, and I'm not even
Mhm.
not only back in my deployment zone. No, I'm back behind you, unactivated, and I'm gonna give it to you soon. Yeah. Um, And yeah, I think it's a super strong ability, and even pros, even very experienced players have difficulties playing around it and are complaining about it. And so I would have really appreciated if there would be a change. I think we talked about pre-recording. We talked a little bit about it, and um, I was talking to some friends of mine as well. What I hate about Balon is that sometimes you don't need him, and then it's wasted. Let's say wasted 6 points because you don't use his ability. And I would really love to see more usability out of him in form maybe of an influence ability where it gives highest attack dice. And then the second part where he has like this once per game ability that when a unit dies, he saves them, kind of as with what is that may never die, but maybe with 3 or 4 wounds remaining. Um, I think that will be still worth 5 points, maybe even 6, depends on the amount of healing that is coming through. And it would just get rid of this outflank mechanic, which is not really also Balonish, really. Like it's I don't feel like that's really be really his thing. If they wanted raiders to be outflanking, then they should do something about the Reaver captains, I think, and not give it to an NCU like Balon, who's basically like reviving something, right? Why should they revive it in the flank,
Mm.
not or just keep them alive, right? So yeah, it's a bit of a miss, as you said, kicking the can down the road, just pushing it off. Maybe maybe they decided on raising the points for Balon very early on, and then thought about the changes with the attachments, and then didn't touch Balon anymore. So we don't know the whole thought process for the whole patch, right? But it feels like,
Yeah.
as you said, with the attachment extra points, it's it's not really a nerf. If I want Balon,
Yeah,
I
I think
would still take him,
it's
right?
yeah, it sounds like this patch was mostly about the attachments and doing some cool things in the game as far as list building goes. I think I would guess then that the next patch in the summer will be more of a balance patch. So I think we could probably look to that patch to maybe address Balon and several other things. There were lots of other things that I thought needed to be tuned up or tuned down that weren't touched. So I think that's probably going to be the objective of the next patch. I know
Mm.
we're always looking to the next patch to solve all the problems that we think exist in the game, but I think the next patch is likely to be more of the balance patch, and this is more the fun patch. So we'll see, but
Yeah,
yeah, I definitely think he needs some kind of a change, like you were saying.
yeah. I mean, I think they always communicated it like this, right? Like start of the year, there's the big
Mhm.
patch coming, major changes to units or to NCUs, and I think they always labeled it like this will be a patch for detachments, as you said, and then down the road during the year, they will see how it will play out, and then they will do more balancing, right? So they bring new features in, they change some things, see how the meta changes, and and then just try to rebalance it during the year, mid of the year. And I mean, to be honest, it's fine. It's so much to think about, and we'll just see, I guess, how it will develop. All right.
Yep.
So then we have 2 more attachments here, which could have a huge impact on list building as well. Randall, what do you think about Asha and Euron?
So yeah, Asha just went down from 2 points to 1 point, which is great. It makes her a very easy choice to take as one of your free attachment points because Sentinel is an extremely powerful ability in the right circumstances. And then Gang Up is something that I think we have seen time and time again be something that's very powerful. You could look at Asha and throw her into Greyjoy Trappers for 5 points or 4 points for free with the attachment allowance. And now those Greyjoy Trappers are like an improved version of the Brotherhood Peasants, the peasant levy that
Yeah,
some people think are too powerful for 4 points. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Asha enables that unit to be very punch way above its weight, I think. And then Euron, his poison gifts ability was changed so that you don't take a wound every time you take an action. Now, just at the start of round 3, you get token bombed, which I think is kind of you can sort of get the benefit of his ability immediately without suffering any consequences for a while, which I think is probably a pretty good thing. You know, I think most people would throw him in Bowman and then suffer a number of wounds over the course of the first few rounds while they throw his pillage out to other units, and then you're stuck with that attachment on that unit for the rest of the game, not providing very much benefit, but continuing to suffer wounds. So I think this may end up causing you more damage in the right circumstances or the wrong circumstances, but I think it feels a little bit better and isn't putting you off from picking him quite as much because you're not worried about tokens in 3 rounds so much as you are always thinking about a wound all the time trickling on you.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dominic?
Yeah, I mean, my I used to play Euron just to generate the pillage token in my Victarion list to just supercharge Victarion or like one other unit straight on and then just keep the bowman back because I felt like if I move them or attack with them too much, they're just whittled down and then they're going to be easy targets.
Mhm.
And of course, you're right. If the opponent can time it correctly and you get your vulnerable and panicked, and then they manage to attack you before you get rid of those tokens, you end up in total getting more damage than with a single damage every round. But I think the change is great. Since we also have like cards like Blessed with Steel and Stone where you can just remove 2 tokens, right? So if
Yeah.
you know about it, the timing is now easier for us, I think, to get rid of those tokens and get rid of the drawback. And yeah, talking about Asha, gang up is great, Sentinel is great. It's 1 point. Only drawback is we have Asha Commander, we have another Asha 1 point attachment, and we have an Asha NCU. And now, well, it's going to be very, very difficult to pick what we want, right? But I think
Mhm.
over the course of a few games, I think we can figure out what's going to be good. And yeah, well, Sentinel is just great. Extra mobility is awesome for Greyjoys always. And yeah, I think we'll see. Anyway, 1 point for Sentinel and Gang Up is crazy. And I think
Yeah,
we're
definite
going to see.
value.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, you can put Carl in there for 1 more point, boost
Mhm.
units damage a bit. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's going to be offensive power, a lot of offensive power. Um,
yeah.
yes,
Oh,
right.
and one more note about Euron, real quick. The I was always hesitant to use his strange relics order because they were already suffering wounds automatically every time they did an action. But now that he's not making you suffer a wound all the time, I would probably be more likely to use that order because now I'm only taking 1 extra wound per round rather than multiple extra wounds.
Mm.
So maybe this is also a buff to that order because people will use it more often or be more inclined to use it to throw
Yeah,
condition tokens out.
yeah, you're totally correct. I mean, when you think about the old finger dance where you can dish out vulnerable with a bowman and get rerolls, you can
Mhm.
get that combination back now. And I think it's gonna boost those bowman unit if you play him in bowman. It's gonna boost that
Mhm.
unit's damage output quite a lot. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the defensive attachment that changes. The Drown Prophet, which used to be 2 points with resilience and go down fighting. They lost go down fighting, kept resilience, and went to 1 point. Only drawback being you can only have a max of 2 Drown Prophets in your army. But I think this is very awesome uh, to um, to help our glass cannon units a bit and keep them longer in the game. What do you say? Because resilience is, yeah, it's just a very good ability. Not many factions can attack twice per round, right? So if you time it correctly,
Mhm.
then you can really keep your units alive easily.
Yeah, no, this is a big change. Because I very rarely ran a Drowned Prophet because he was 2 points. I didn't care too much about the go down fighting. You know, it was nice when you got extra wounds, but I always looked at it like this guy costs half as much as a bowman unit or a trapper unit. So I would just say I may as well pay a couple more points and pay to bring a whole new unit. So this is gonna make probably most lists. I don't know. I don't know if most of my lists will probably have him in one of these in there somewhere. I think it's funny they made it that text on the back that you can only bring 2 because they were probably concerned about all 4 all 4 of your free attachment
Yeah.
points going to drown profits just in everything and
4
making the
Reavers with 4
entire
drowned profits, and
yeah.
you go. That
Mhm.
would have been fun. 9
But
activations,
mhm,
everything full of drowned profits. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
make sure
Yeah,
they were in playtesting, they had some pretty crazy, probably some pretty crazy games in playtesting of drowned profits all over the place, just causing
yeah.
an army to be unkillable.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it makes sense to limit it for to 2 attachments, and also makes sense because there's 2 attachments in one drowned man box, drowned man unit box. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think it's a great upgrade, and yeah, will work with a lot of units. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So last of the changes to the attachments is Moqorro, and yeah, the only change being here is he stays 2 points. He keeps his 2 orders. Only thing now is he gets a point reduction of 1 point if you play him with a Victarion 2-point attachment. The attachment that has
Action
relentless
of the
and furious
Victory.
charge.
Mhm.
hmm And I think that's going to be cool because I never see 2-point Victarion, and maybe with this Moqorro point drop, there's going to be a strong incentive to maybe try him out in certain lists. Um, we'll talk about one of the lists I quickly put together, and where I use Moqorro and a 2-point attachment, and I think it could work out very nice. And yeah, so what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's cool. It offers some interesting list building options, and I feel like haven't we still haven't fully seen the power of relentless in this game. You know, we used to have a different version of it, and then they changed it to be this. But I still feel like we haven't seen relentless in the spotlight, and I like this change because it's pushing relentless into the spotlight a little bit more with
hmm
Victarion, and Greyjoys love being in people's faces.
hmm
But before, I think for 2 points, it was just a little bit too much of an ask, and also most people had wanted to take Victarion commander anyway. So I think this is gonna open up a lot of really cool list building options because you can have Victarion as 2 points of your attack of your allowance, Moqorro as just one more point, and then you still have an additional point to
Right.
spend on something else. So I
Yeah.
think because those points are free now, we're going to see
Mhm.
some pretty wacky lists. I know you've put a list together we're going to look at, and it looks pretty fun to me because it
Yeah.
features both of these guys.
Yeah, one thing I like about this combination as well, it's like lore-wise, after I think Moqorro was traveling to Marine to see Daenerys or something, and then the Iron Fleet was on the way to Marine as well, and then Victarion
Mm.
rescues Moqorro, so it's very cool that you can put them in a list together now and even get like a point reduction. And yeah, so if for the people that like lore a bit and try to build themed lists, might be also another incentive to try this combination, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, let's have a look at it. Um, I tried to build a list using a few of the new units, few of the new orders, and of course the combination we just talked about. And I think that can be very, very nice, grindy healing list against the right opponents. Obviously, if you play against Martell, it's not going to work as much because Rising Thames and Oberyn Poison will break your legs here. But if you have a look at the list with 2 pillagers and one bowman and Eric Ironmaker Commander who can distribute all the pillage token that you generate, I think it can be super grindy and tanky. And yeah, for and it's 8 activations, which is also good. I think in general the meta will change more towards 8 activations now, since you actually need to have all those units to be able to put the attachments in, right? So I think most factions will tend towards or lean towards 8 activations, and yeah, I think this might be a good combination. Actually, I never not didn't try it out yet, but on paper I think it looks good. Um, What's your opinion? What do you think I could do with this list, or you could do with this list?
Yeah, it definitely looks very frustrating to try to kill. The pillagers, they look like they're flimsy just from the models, but these guys just do not die if you're managing them correctly. And having two of them in your list with all that extra healing that you have with Moqorro, it just makes this list just be a nightmare to try to get rid of. If you can't shut down orders or remove abilities, then I think this list is incredibly hard to shift, to push them off points. And then Iron Makers with Dagmar, those guys are going to be swinging hard until the end. And then even the Bowmen, the Bowmen have Balor in there, so even if you're trying to panic bomb them, once you've whittled them down to 1 or 2 ranks, you're not going to be doing too much panic damage to them. So I think this is going to be a really grindy, fun list, especially with Eric Ironmaker's attachable cards that you can stick on your units that make them even more durable. So this looks like a very, very fun list and a very frustrating list to impose on your opponent.
Yeah, I think it really encapsulates the iron spirit of wearing your opponent down in melee. Just persevere, stay in the fight, heal up, deal damage, and then come out on top at the end. Right. So now that we looked at the list and went through all the changes for the Greyjoys start of season 6, Greyjoy's coming from a quite nice and strong point. Randall, what do you think is going to be the development for Greyjoys in the upcoming month?
Yeah, so Greyjoys were strong in season 5. I think at the end of season 5 here, we've had some big Greyjoy wins at tournaments just in the last week or so. And I think looking at what season 6 is offering, I don't see Greyjoys diminishing in power at all unless other factions' power level rises even beyond this. I think Greyjoys are definitely a big winner in season 6. They have a lot of great attachments, and they saw some of those great attachments drop in point value. And in addition to that, with this 4-point attachment allowance, it just is going to let these Greyjoy units and Greyjoy mechanics that were already very powerful just be amplified even greater. I don't know yet whether the commander pick rate of different commanders is going to change that much, or whether some new commander is going to come out of nowhere to be the most popular one. I would guess that Victarion will still be a very popular pick, but I don't think Balon got touched significantly, so I think that is a big win for Greyjoy players. And I think they're just going to be even better after this patch.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, they might come out on, maybe not on top, but one of the strongest factions in season 6. Seems to be the consensus in the community anyway. So that was the first reactions that I read online, and you're totally right. I mean, we used to have like at least a few units without attachment that were like the weak point, weak link in our army. But now that you can put an attachment in every unit, you can really eke out those little weak points and have a like overall very, very strong army. And I agree but we will see how the meta develops. We will see what other factions can do. And I would invite everyone who's listening now to stay with us, because we're going to cover all the other factions in a timely manner as well. Randall's going to be in one of the few videos. I think he's going to cover Boltons and Targaryens with us. And that's going to be exciting. And right. So Randall, thanks again for being here, for supporting us. I would invite everyone also to check out Randall's channel, Imperial Minis, for awesome battle reports. And thanks again, Randall.
Yeah, a pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Right, always pleasure. And on a closing note, I think everyone is aware that there have been some changes to stats, and that we're running a Ko-fi campaign and a new Patreon system to keep stats the way it is, or even improve it and work on it. and keep this awesome community tool alive for everyone who's using it. And so I would encourage you to support the campaign, even consider maybe becoming a Patreon to help us provide this community tool for you. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching, and keep rolling those crits.
Come for the hits and stay for the crits.